Hi guys, welcome back to Eric's UK here, back again with another video. As seems to be the case lately, it's another video response, this time to Sean Driscoll and his video entitled What Made You Become a Roleplay GM and Do You Use a GM Screen? What made me become a GM? Although I'm not very good at it, I am the sort of person that likes to organise. I kind of like to be in charge. I have the drive for it. I'm generally not much cop at anything else. But one of the things I find that I'm good at is GMing. And from the time I first heard of role-playing games, I really kind of like the idea of being the dungeon master, being the guy in charge who creates the world, the scenarios, and what have you. I enjoy being a player. But I do have to say that I always find, generally I find that as a player I miss having that control over my character, because the GM can do, without being an arse, the GM can do what he likes. If he says your character falls down a pit, you fall down a pit. If he says you wake up in the morning with a big spot on your nose, and you've got a big spot on your nose. If the GM does something in the story or the game that screws your character over somewhat, even if they give you a benefit for it, like XP or fate chips or whatever your game uses, I still feel that I've lost an element of control, and part of me is a control freak. Not majorly so, but part of me is, and that's one of the reasons why I like to be a GM, because I feel more comfortable in the role, perhaps. I can govern the game, and even if the characters sort of like beat my scenario or destroy my bad guys, it doesn't matter, because it's not like it's my character. I've not lost any control out of anything. And generally, I like GMing. One of the things that really brought me into role playing when I first read it was like reading about the monster manual. With hundreds of monsters and stuff, and I love monsters. I love monster movies. I love really bad Sci-Fi Channel monster movies. I own some really terrible stuff on DVD, like Sharktopus and crap like that. But it's all great ideas for monsters or scenarios and stuff as well. But it was always monsters that kind of brought me in, and I like being able to control the monsters and have these cool beasties and stuff. So that's the explanation of why what made me become the GM, because I had played initially for probably a couple of months, I think, and then I picked up which was Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the first one I ever actually got to play, and then after a few weeks I actually ended up buying the rulebook because I wanted to have the rulebook, and then it was a couple of months after that before I started running games. In an odd sort of way, I kind of regret doing that. Oops, sorry, that was my phone. In a way, I kind of regret doing that, because since then I've always felt that unless you've got no choice, you're a fresh group starting out, you have not had anyone else teach you anything like that, I do kind of feel that if you've got an established GM and you're a new player, you want to be a player for probably 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year before you even think about picking up the mantle of GM. I've noticed this a lot with players, because players, new people you get into role playing, I find do have this habit of, they play for 3 or 4 sessions, they go, this is awesome, I want to run my own game, and they go out and they buy the book, and suddenly it kind of destroys their ability to play to an extent, because suddenly they know how all the rules work, and a bit odd, but that's what I tend to find, is that then they never quite play the same way again. But anyway, second question, do you use a GM screen? Yes, I do, absolutely, every single game. Why? Because I am a fan of keeping things secret from players. That's dice rolls, obviously the scenario and what have you, maps and what have you. I like it all to be out of sight. The players don't need to see any of that, and it's handy having all the necessary charts and so forth. on the screen in front of you, rather than having to flick through the book to find every little bit of minutia. The only thing I don't roll behind the screen is usually percentile mischances for characters that have gone ethereal, or even just for the monsters. They roll and it's a mischance. I roll that in the open to show that I'm not being an arse and cheating them out of legitimate hits. But there you go. That's my answer to that particular question. So until next time, take care. Good gaming.